Hello everyone, thanks for dropping by. In my last video I mentioned that MGTOW may be getting some traction in the mainstream media, and finally the mainstream media is starting to take notice of the philosophy of MGTOW. Well, over here in Britain it's also starting to gain some traction, but mostly in the left-wing section of our press. I found this. Now, for those of you who are not British, The Guardian is a left-wing leaning publication with a low circulation and whose finances predominantly involve public sector non-jobs in councils, etc. And as you can see, this title was written by a lady called Laura Bates, and it's Men Going Their Own Way, quote, the rise of a toxic male supremacist movement. Now, before I start, she's a fully paid up member of the feminist clan, and she's done several articles on The Guardian, all about feminism and from a woman's point of view. Now, if you take a look at that picture, that is how MGTOW is probably looked at from the mainstream media. A sinister red pill inside an ocean of passive blue pill men. Anyway, she writes, the men of MGTOW movement aim to live their lives with no female contract. True, the idea of being on the fringes of the internet, so how has it made its way to the White House? Then she goes on about MGTOW. It's quite a long article, I'm not going to go through it, but there's a few things which stick out for me anyway. Men going their own way, far away from women at all. Though some MGTOW maintain platonic relationships with women, and others have one-night stands or visit sex workers. They're not sex workers, they are escorts, and as I said before, you're not paying for sex, you're paying for time. Sex might be one of the services, but you're essentially paying for time and not sex, because paying for sex is illegal. Anyway, many prefer to abstain from sex. True. A process referred to as going monk. Nothing wrong with that. This is too much for some members of the wiser manosphere. Fair enough, it's up to them. Remember, MGTOW is a personal choice. It's not a movement. It's just a philosophy. The blogger Matt Forney, whoever he is, wrote that men going their own way is no way for men to go. Well, if women weren't such toxic in the divorce courts and wanting to get a man's stuff and not being very trustworthy, not all women, but some of them, he mocked MGTOW as a cult for lonely virgins. Well, I might be a virgin myself, but I'm far from being lonely. I find lots of other things to do. Anyway. And she goes on about MGTOW.com. There's 33,000 members and contains conversations with more than 50,000 topics. I've never looked at that, so I can't really comment. And the site lists 25 video channels between them. This one probably is not on it, but hey-ho. Those have more than 730,000 followers, and their videos are viewed a total of 130 million times. Now this bit stuck out. Over on YouTube, one of the best MGTOW vloggers, who goes by the name of, quote, Sandman, has racked up more than 90 million views for videos and titles ranging from Smart Men Don't Get Married and To Criticize Her and She Will Destroy Your Career. And the MGTOW, she finally got the P word in there, philosophy, which it is elaborately laid out on the MGTOW website. Statement of ownership. Women are essentially portrayed as parasites. No, they're not. They're just portrayed as women, but a lot of women are untrustworthy. That's the reason why MGTOW came into being. If they didn't take so many men to female-friendly family courts and initiate 80% of divorces, then there wouldn't be a problem. But toxic third-wave feminism is the problem with women, not women themselves. Anyway, parasites ride on the coattails of men who have throughout history been responsible for far greater miracles of science, discovery and human endeavour. True. This single guy working alone has created some of the greatest technological breakthroughs in history. But not all people who have done that were single. By shaking women off, it is explained men will be free to pursue even higher achievements. No, they're just free to pursue a quiet life. And then it's just expression from MGTOW. Guys are doing their MGTOW adherents are unlikely to meet in person. True. I don't want to meet a fellow MGTOW. It's a personal choice, a personal decision to go on your own and avoid women. I'm not interested in meeting other people to share ideas. We go our own way. That's the whole purpose of it. Throughout the manosphere, the Common Centre see members expressing paranoia about normies. I've yet to see that. That could be her slipping a word in to create discord. Who could be out to expose them? Once you've taken the red pill up that the whole world is stacked against you, to a point, yes. 4 main levels of MGTOW have gone. Level 4 described as social rejection. The MGTOW drops out of society altogether. An urbanite, that's probably me, might keep to his own apartment. Yeah, well, I just live in this flat on my own, so I never knew I was a level 4 MGTOW, but I do now. While someone further out may simply head into the wilderness and go off grid. If you want to do that, fine, but it's your own choice. Those who have achieved this ultimate isolation are known as ghosts and treated as legends within the community. Nonsense. But most MGTOWs seem happily hovering somewhere around level 2. Yeah, I'm happy around women. I've got no problems. I just don't want a relationship with any of them. Discussions tend to centre on classic manosphere complaints such as evils of women and misandry. In some areas, yes, but not anything that I've ever experienced. Now she goes on about David Skerritt, an 18-year-old Cardiff University student, and then a dedicated member of the MGTOW community. But the kid, he's too young to understand it, and... where is it now? Where is it? He's now 22 years old. She tracked him down. That could be classified as stalking. Soon afterwards, he left the community, having met a girl who rather unsurprisingly shared his criticisms. In other words, she's a chameleon. So I guess the joke's on them. In other words, he's got a girlfriend and he's back on the plantation. Next thing you know, he'll be engaged, he'll be married, and he'll have knocked her up, and then she'll have him. It's easy to write off MGTOW as a weird group of goofy celibates. I'm not weird, I ain't goofy, and I might be a celibate, but that's my choice. Yes, it has in some ways quietly penetrated mainstream culture more successfully than any other segment of the manosphere. That's true. MGTOW is quietly embedding itself in all sections of Western culture as a direct result of third-wave feminism and female-friendly family courts. Action, reaction. In the immediate after of the Me Too movement, we saw millions of women worldwide standing up to sexual harassment and assault by sharing their own stories. I agree with that to a point. No woman should be sexually harassed. That's just plain wrong. Critics claim that the movement was a pitchfork mob designed to topple men from their jobs and lives. To a degree, with bitter, vindictive men, that's true. But gradually another response emerged, borrowing this idea directly from MGTOW, avoiding women at all costs. Yes, men going their own way. Now this bit is interesting. It started with rumours women reported that men in their offices, that's if you worked in an office of course, had suddenly started declining meetings with them or were insisting on leaving the door open. The human resource consultant reported executives telling her that they would no longer get into an elevator alone with a woman. That's right, protecting himself. Suddenly it began to snowball. Story after story of men abruptly cancelling business lunches or avoiding women they had previously mentored. In the same way that MGTOW movement turns into a structural oppression of women on its turns the structural oppression of women on its head, claiming men are the victims of gender bias, this spate of mainstream examples sought to cast men the real victims of the Me Too movement. Then it just goes a bit more about that. Now this bit is interesting. Nor does it remain a niche idea. A 2019 study, that's last year, found that 27% of American men now avoid one-on-one meetings with female colleagues. Now, I looked up the census, and there's approximately 210 million men in America aged 18 and above, and 27% of that is approximately 57 million men now avoiding one-on-one meetings with female colleagues. Now, if all 57 men, or the bulk of them, go MGTOW and keep their money to themselves, just think how much that will affect the US economy, and especially things that the US economy has aimed at women, i.e. fashion, i.e. the marriage industry, shoes, anything that's aimed at women. Women will have to buy with their own money, and we all know that women prefer to use a man's money than their own. Now I found this article. It's by the same woman. It's exactly a carbon copy of what I've just been talking about, and the 73 comments. This was the same day. It's just about 4 hours after this one was published. And she's also, if it come up, here we go. The Guardian bookstore, men who hate women. From incels to pick apart the truth about extreme misogyny and how it affects us all. In other words, she wrote a book all about MGTOW. And from her perspective. So do you see, guys, it's starting to make inroads into the mainstream press, not in a good way, but ladies like this are starting to take notice of the effect it's having, and it looks like it's going to snowball from now on till it's starting to affect government policy, and then we might see some action. Whether that's good or bad is unknown, but I think you get the idea. We are gaining traction, and the feminists don't like it because there's nothing they can do about it. That's why they sort of lump MGTOW along with incels and the pick-up artists. They can't narrow MGTOW down because we have no centre, we have no leadership, so they try and lump us in together with people that they can connect with and lump us all together as one, when we're not. We're just a philosophy of guys going their own way because we'd prefer it that way and it's a lot safer for us. Right, I think that's it for this one. It's probably gone on longer than I thought it would, so okay guys, you know the routine. Like, dislike, comment, subscribe, completely up to you. And also if there's any ladies here, like, dislike, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down. Until next Monday, I'll try and find something else on this article or how it's more affecting the economy as a whole. But until then, that's it. Bye-bye.